Welcome back to Asia Inspires. I'm Asia, your host, here with VCH, who is going to be sharing her inspirational story and her journey with mental health. So, Vanessa, would you mind introducing yourself? Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Sure. Thanks so much, Asia. And thanks so much for having me on your show, on your
Of
channel.
course, thank you for being here.
Oh, my pleasure. I am a certified life coach, and I have lived with depression for almost 20 years now, and which is what led me to getting into coaching. Um, I my depression journey started when I didn't realize I was going through depression. I was actually in grad school because I loved the job that I had, but the hours were becoming unbearable. So I decided to go back to school and get my master's, my MBA, in order to get a different type of job, that would help me have that work life balance. And so that's when I was in grad school, I realized that something was wrong. One evening, because I was taking evening courses, and when I pulled into the parking lot, I just sat in my car because I didn't want to get out of the car to go to my class. And so I was like, why do I feel like this? But this is not right because this is not me.
Mhm.
And this is not how I felt at the beginning of my program. Because I love school, but at this point, something was off. And so I had initially this depression, these episodes actually initially started with my cycle. So the week before my cycle, I would have PMS with depression, right? And the week after my cycle, I would go through some depression. So I went to my gynecologist and he prescribed some contraceptives, some birth control. Because he said, oh, I have a lot of patients that have this, they go through this, and this contraceptive will get you back on track. Not the right answer because that contraceptive, I went from going through depression for 2 weeks out of the month to the whole month.
Mhm.
And so at that point, my husband and I, we realized, because he kept telling me, this seems hormonal, you know? And so, um, now, of course, I left the company that I was working at. I went to another bank and because I wanted to get into management and I did get into management. But again, here I am at a job that I love. I can't do it. I can't function. And so I would get to my office and, I would just slowly, like, oh my God, it was just, it took so much effort to do the things I needed to do. And, and, and the other thing that was paining me was this is not how I normally am. So I was like, why am I going through this? And so in addition to my work stuff, I also had some family stuff that was taking place regarding my husband and I had joint custody of my niece who was living with my mom, and she was acting out. And so um, that was adding to the stress that I was going through. And so um, I told the director that I needed to resign from my position. And I told her, I said, with the situation with my niece and this depression, I told her, I said, I can't keep doing this. And so she wanted to keep me. She said, I'll do whatever it takes to keep you, Vanessa, because I value you and you're a great manager. You're a great asset to this company. And I told her, I said, I would love to, but I would do you a disservice because mentally where I am right now, I can't even be the manager that you need me to be. And so I went ahead and resigned. And I can't remember how much longer after that. I finally decided because my husband kept telling me, you need to see somebody. You need to see a doctor. You can't just try and fight this way through as you know how we do it, how black women. It's like, oh, strong black woman, got to do it. And he's like, you need some help. And so I decided to go see a psychiatrist, and I saw him. First time he wrote me a prescription and for Abilify. And a few weeks after that, when it was time for me to go back, because that particular medication causes severe constipation, and I already have digestive, or at that time had digestive issues. And so I wanted to go back to him to see if I could get something different. Well, I couldn't find him. Wouldn't return my phone calls.
Oh.
He ghosted me basically. And so, oh my God. So it literally took me years to finally see another psychiatrist. And it wasn't because I voluntarily decided to do that. I actually was forced pretty much to see someone because in between the time that I saw the first psychiatrist to my new one, I tried to take over the counter supplements, herbal supplements and what have you, to try and help with my mood, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that was not the right answer. And I really want to hone in on the fact that for your listeners or for someone that's watching this video right now, please don't do that. Please do not try to do this on your own. I started taking St. John's Wort and SAMe, both in the US, over the counter. In Europe, you need a prescription, which shows you how impactful and serious they can be. And so I knew something was off when I started taking it. I was feeling a little weird, but never pinpointed to the supplements. So fast forward a few years, and I would take them, and then I'd stop.
Mm-hmm.
And so some years later, I would start taking them again, and I would take them with vitamin. What is it? The Not vitamin D, but the supplement that's supposed to also help to give you energy, which is fish oil, right? The omega fish oil vitamins. And so I was taking the St. John's Wort and with that. And so what I didn't know when I was taking the St. John's Wort is that, and I found this out after the fact, is that St. John's Wort it stays in your system for up to 48 hours. So if you're popping that puppy every day, and
You're
depending
getting
on
extra.
yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying you're getting extra if it's staying in your system for
Oh my
48
God.
hours.
Yes. And so, and if you don't know this, because you're thinking, oh, I still feel not great, I'm still, but I'm not low. So then I'll just, take one every day like I have been doing. Wrong answer. And especially that's what I was going to say too. Everybody's system is different. So
Mm-hmm.
someone else may be able to take St. John's Wort or SAMe, no problem. That wasn't the case for me. So one morning I woke up and I was doing my normal routine. I was in the bathroom listening to my gospel music because I do my positive morning playlist every morning to try and get my mood up.
Mm-hmm.
And all of a sudden, I guess I blacked out. And so I remember myself. So basically I had a psychotic breakdown. And so I was going through my house, I knocked over a lamp, and I don't pretty much remember a lot of what happened. I remember my husband grabbing me to restrain me, and my daughter had to call 911. And that image I do remember that. I don't know, my mother instincts popped up, but um, she had to call 911, and the police department, the fire department, and the paramedics all came out. And yeah, so it landed me into the hospital, and which I don't remember any of this. And my husband said, they asked me, do you want to go to the mental hospital? And I told them yes. Don't remember any of that. And all because I was taking these supplements. And what's interesting is I do remember a part when I was at home when the paramedics and they were all there, police were there, and they asked my family, they go, "Where's her medication?" And they were like, "She's not on any medication." And so, but in not thinking about the supplements that I was taking, right? And so, when I got to the hospital, my husband said, they asked me, "Do you want to go to the mental hospital?" And I told them, "Yeah." Divine intervention, because that's what I needed.
Yeah.
Honestly, because I don't remember saying that, but it was all divine intervention. And because of that stay in the hospital, that is what landed me to start seeing my current psychiatrist, who I still see to this very day. And that was 12 years ago. And so my message to any and everyone is that if you are going through depression, anxiety, do not try to figure this out on your own, because it can have some serious detrimental effects to not just your life, but your family's life. And in my case, I wasn't just living with depression, so was my daughter and my husband. And so see it from that point of view, from that perspective of, if I can't do what I need to do for me, what about what my family is missing out on by not having me there, by me not having me in my true essence of myself there for them. And I share my story because I want to try and prevent people from going through because that was devastating. That was so freaking devastating. I mean, to have all that happen, which could have been avoided if I had just tried to find another psychiatrist. And so do not let, just because you have a poor experience with a mental health professional, don't let that stop you from, all right, you know what? Let me just see if I can find somebody else. Because if you start seeing a therapist or a psychiatrist or a psychologist, and a psychiatrist is the only mental health professional that is legally able to prescribe medication to you, a therapist cannot prescribe medication to you. So if you just want to talk to somebody, please go see a therapist. And therapists are not a one size fits all. They're people just like us, right? So just like when you're trying to find that primary care doctor that works for you, I mean, we've all gone through several, primary care physicians, because maybe that one didn't really vibe with you. And so what do? You don't just say, "Oh, I'm not going to the doctor." And hopefully some people may do that, but you probably don't, because you need to go get well.
Right. Right.
Just find the next one. Do more research and find the next one. Referrals are great. If you know somebody, a good friend, somebody in your area who has a good doctor, ask. Same thing for therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists. Ask if someone knows of a great psychiatrist, of a great therapist. Because just like when you break your arm, and people always use that analogy, or your leg, you need a professional to help you get through this. Mental health, honestly, is probably even more important, because this is your mind. And without your mind, you can't function. I know I couldn't. And I had so few days that I could. Very few. I mean, because depression is devastating. It is a debilitating mental condition. Very debilitating. There would be days when I would just sit on the couch. And fortunately, when I resigned from my managerial position, because I'm a licensed real estate appraiser, I just launched my own appraisal business, which it was just me. And so, and the client that I had at the time, I let them know how much work I wanted. And if I didn't if I didn't want work that day, I just told them, nope, no work today. And that was a blessing. So many blessings for me during that very harsh time, for myself and my family. But I know that I went through all of that because I needed to be able to be that voice and be that advocate, because I am totally a mental health advocate. Sharing my story to let people know that you're not alone. And I know depression tells you you're alone. That is a lie. I know that depression tells you that your life is not valuable, and that your family and friends would be better off without you, because I got those messages. That is a lie. Those are lies, lies, lies. And there were times when I thought, well, maybe that is true, because freaking this dark cloud, and I say it's a dark energy that just takes over your brain, and you're no longer who you once were. And that's what I used to always go through. Why can't I just be the Vanessa that I was way back when I was energetic, and whenever I said I was going to do something, I would do it. And when I told somebody I was going to be somewhere at a certain time, I was going to be there.
Mm.
Why can't I be that person again? Because depression makes you late. Depression makes you not show up at places that you said you were going to show up to. And then people, family, friends, all the alike, they think that you're being flaky. And that is not the case. You might look well on the outside, but on the inside, you're hurting, literally dying on the inside. And so my message is to any and every person out there that is suffering. Maybe you feel like, I don't want to go outside. I'm going to just stay home. Tomorrow, the next day. And yeah, you know what? I'm not going to go. I'm going to just stay home. Is that normal for you? Before the pandemic, was that how you felt? Please ask yourself these questions. And if that's not your normal, please, please reach out. And there are some organizations that uh, that actually have free services, like NAMI, the National Alliance for Mental Illness. They're nationwide. They have offices all over the country, and they have multiple offices in different counties, in different cities. Because here, because there's like I know there's in New York, there's quite a different locations around the Bronx, different areas. There's also for folks like for me, peer support groups are vital. And if you are still hesitant about seeing a therapist, how about looking into a peer support group? And what is a peer support group? A peer support group is just a group of people like you who are also living with depression, anxiety, whatever it is mentally that you are going through. And it's a meeting. Usually the meetings are like every week, every 2 weeks, depending on that organization. And NAMI also holds these types of sessions, and where people just share their story. And you go there for support to share your story so that you know that you're not alone, and your peers in that group also see that, wow, oh my God, I'm not alone. And another organization that I've actually, I am in the process through my nonprofit, and I launched a nonprofit called the Zama Foundation for women's mental wellness in honor of my sister who passed away in 2002. And I launched this organization because I didn't know at the time that she was going through depression. And unfortunately, she passed away before it dawned on me that she was going through depression. And so once I started going through depression, I realized that my sister was going through depression as well. And my sister actually, she was living with AIDS, but now in hindsight, I tell people that AIDS didn't kill my sister, depression did, because it was very easy for her to stop taking her medicine and to just give up. And towards the end of her journey, she did reach out to me one night while she was in the hospital, and she said, even though before this date, this night, she was saying, oh, because she had two younger kids, and I was trying to get her to please continue to take your medicine so you can be here for your children, because although, I can be there for them, but I am not their mother, and kids want their mother. And she consistently just said, no, they have you, they have mom. I said, no, kids they want their mother, regardless of what I can provide for them. They want to see you in whatever shape you are. Kids want their mom.
Yeah.
And it was maybe 6 months after that, she was in the hospital, and she called me. It was like 12:30 midnight, and I'm up because I'm working, unfortunately. And she said, oh, Nessa, I don't want to die. And I was like, oh, I'm glad to hear that. I'm really happy to hear that. And so she said, will you pray for me? And that's something that my sister would never ask somebody to. Because at that point, she didn't go to church anymore, which is okay. But for her to ask me to pray for her, that spoke volumes. And I did, of course. But at that point, the virus was too far gone in her body. And 4 or 5 months later, she passed away. Yeah. So I launched the Zama Foundation in her honor in order to coach women that are currently going through depression and or anxiety to get you to a point where you're comfortable going to see either a therapist or a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Because I've been there, my sister was there, and unfortunately, she's no longer with us. And so I don't want people to go through this. I do not
Yeah.
alone when you don't have to, because it's something that happens to a lot of people. So don't think that you're alone. But what's the alone part is getting help. And so you feel alone because you don't know what to do. But there is help. Even asking your primary care physician, can you refer me to a therapist? Because I'm sure your insurance has behavioral health services through your insurance. Counties, I know in California, LA County, they have free services if you feel like you can't pay. And these are some of the services that I offer through my clients through the foundation. Is I will find out for you what's available, what's free in your area, and so that you can get the help that you need. And another, if you really would like to sign up for a peer support group, I'm currently in the process of partnering with an organization called Sharewell Now. It's sharewellnow.com. And they offer tons of peer support groups on just about everything. I'm talking survivors of narcissistic abuse, um, music, using music to heal you. It's just a plethora. So I encourage you, if you want to just test out peer support groups, check out sharewellnow.com. NAMI, there are resources out there
Yes.
because you do not have to do this alone. And I do not want you to do it alone, because loneliness is a thing. Matter of fact, Cheryl has sessions, peer support group sessions on loneliness, which I think is vital because there's a lot of loneliness in the world, especially post pandemic.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah, you don't have to be alone at home. You don't. There are other people that would love to hear your story, that would love to just say hello to you, that would love to be able to, in some way, just provide you with some inspiration. And I actually just hosted my first session on Sharewell because I once you go through the training, you're able to host your own sessions, peer support group sessions on Sharewell. And I hosted my first one on Monday. And my sessions are healing depression through spirituality, wellness tools, and conversations. So if you don't think anything else resonates with you, I would welcome you to join me in one of my peer group support sessions. And I would love to have you. So, and help you along this journey, because you are not alone. You don't have to be alone. And nor do we want you to be alone, especially from someone. And I'm not cured from depression. Don't get me wrong, but I'm able to live with it and understand it and continue to carry. To be honest, I've now embraced my depression because now I'm at a point where, now that I've gotten the professional help, the medical help, because I did have to be on medication, and that was my fear because I didn't want to be addicted. I didn't want to have to rely on medication. And I was just scared, right? I was scared because you hear all the horror stories about a lot of people getting addicted to antidepressants. So, but it's okay. The psychiatrists are there to help you and guide you along that journey. And that is what my psychiatrist did. Wonderful, wonderful woman. And I was on my medication for 2012 until 2018, 6 years. And she was able to wean me off. And here I am. And I do still take a supplement that she recommended. Um, and so again, even with supplements, it's best that you have someone monitoring them for you because our bodies, not all bodies are created equal. And what works for me may not work for you. So highly encourage any and everybody out there listening. Whatever mental condition that you have that you're living with, don't do it alone. You don't have to. You're not alone in a world of I don't know how many billions of people that exist in our world. You're not alone. There is help. There are resources, free resources that you can receive, and lots of organizations that can help you along your journey and get you to that healing point that will allow you to not just survive, but thrive.
Thank you so much for sharing your story. And just, I want to really reiterate some of the things that you said. One, that you're not alone. So anybody who's watching this who may feel like that you're alone, of course, that's what your mind is telling you, that you're the only one who feels this way. You're the only one who has these anxious thoughts or the depressive thoughts. But that's not true. Just like she said, that there's support groups out there of people who feel the exact same as you. Of course, anybody who's experiencing thoughts of suicide, please know there's also help out there for you. You can text or call the number 988 to speak to a trained professional about your suicidal thoughts. I would definitely also encourage you to seek out a therapist. If financial reasons is the reason why you're not seeking a therapist, she mentioned some free resources. I will also be sure to post that in the description box, and I'll also add some more low cost or free resources as well. And if you are, so I can't speak for other communities because I didn't grow up in other communities, but I know in the Black community, there's still a lot of stigma with I have to do it all on my own. I have to be a strong Black woman. I have to be a strong Black man. No, you do not. It is okay. It's okay for you to ask for help. It's okay for you to let people know that, hey, I'm not feeling my best today or haven't been feeling my best within the last X amount of time. Chances are people have observed it, noticed it. And if you have a friend who started experiencing those things as well, then I would say reach out to them. Make sure that you're paying attention to the changes in people, especially those that are close to you, and just say, hey, you might not want to talk about it right now, but whenever you're ready to talk about it, I'm here for you. Please know that if I can come help you clean, if I can come help you cook, if I can just get you out the house and just go for a walk outside, let me know and I'll do that for you. But make sure that you are there for that person. Additionally, when it comes to medication, I know that there is a lot of people who I don't want to take medication because, like you said, I don't want to get addicted. I don't want to be on it forever. There's so many side effects to medication. And truth of the matter is, all that's true. There are people who get addicted. There are people who have to take it for long periods of time. There are people who experience the side effects. However, there are also a lot of people who don't experience side effects, who don't get addicted to it, who don't have to take it for long periods of time. Depression and anxiety can be because of a chemical imbalance in the brain. It could be also because of life circumstances. And so as she mentioned, you can be excited to do things one year and then it just seems like that excitement just dwindles down to where it's like, dang, I used to be able to go places on time. I used to be excited to do these things. And now you find yourself not wanting to do that. That medication can help you to get back to a routine. So, they talk about exercising and getting sunshine and, spending time with loved ones. Depression and anxiety can make you not want to do any of that. Whereas getting on medication could potentially get you to the point to where you can start exercising regularly, where you can start going for walks regularly, where you can hang out with people regularly, and then a professional can wean you off of that medication just as they did with her. So if any questions are always welcome, please leave them in the comment section and we'll address them. Please also make sure that you follow her. I believe this is your Instagram, correct?
Yes.
Okay. The Instagram, VCH underscore cert life coach. Make sure that you follow her. Check out her organization. It sounds like it's an amazing, amazing program. And I just wish you so much joy and peace. I'm so glad that you agreed to do this, and I'm so glad that our paths crossed because this is a story that needs to be told. That's the other thing that I want to say quickly, and then I wrap up here is that so many of us want to hold on to our stories. We're embarrassed about the depression, anxiety, the almost suicide or the suicide attempt, or the other issues that have happened in our life. We want to keep them to ourselves when instead we should share them. We should embrace them. They may be scars, but they're battle scars. They're showing what we have been through. And as she said, no, she's not healed from it, but it's a journey in which she has embraced and which she's continuously on and is able to help other people who are on their journey as well. Imagine if she would have kept this to herself and said, you know what, this is what I went through. It's nobody's business. Imagine all the people who wouldn't have heard her story, who wouldn't have been able to hear about her organization, and the people who have gone through her organization and have found the strength in finding healing. They would have been going without. So if you have that same experience, make sure you let people know, because you never know who needs to hear that story so that they can start their journey as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah.
Are there any last minute comments or anything that you have to say?
Again, thank you so much for having me. And I did want to add on to when I was mentioning St. John's Wort. The reason I found out about the it stays in your system for 48 hours and how it can cause a psychotic break is because after I got out of the hospital, I did some research to find out, okay, what is, and apparently there was a psychiatrist for the Air Force that had several patients who came, they were brought by either a friend or a family member into his office who had psychotic breakdowns or a psychotic episode, who had no prior history of psychosis. And
Wow.
he was wondering, yeah, how did this happen? And the one item they had in common was the St. John's Wort.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, just wanted to make sure I shared that. And you also mentioned working out and getting back to doing the things that you want to do. I will say that working out is like the one thing that I try to do on a regular basis because it does help with depression. It gets those juices flowing to the brain. And like you said, a walk outside, sunshine, all of that really does truly help. And oh, that's the other thing. If like what Asia was saying about if you know somebody, a family or friend who something seems off, they're not calling you back, they're not responding. The one thing I share with people is if you know somebody like that, there's someone in your life, in your circle, just go sit with them. Don't ask them to go anywhere. Just say, can I come over? You will be surprised because we're humans. And so we all have energy. We all give off an energy. Your presence with them will send them some energy, some good energy. So just wanted to say that because people just need to see someone else. Even if
Yeah.
even if you don't talk, you don't have to talk to them. Just sit with them and watch TV with them. Sit with them and just play some nice music. Whatever the case may be, just be there with them.
Yeah, yeah, and quickly, I'll share something to add on to that. Personal story of mine of a friend that I had in high school. That we were friends, and he would act a certain way that added to our friendship. We would laugh and talk and joke and all that, and then some months later, it seemed like, oh, he was the life of the class, like the class clown. Everyone was laughing and things like that. And then maybe not a few months later, maybe the following year, I started noticing a change in him where he wasn't being as fun to hang around. He
Yeah.
would say he's going to do something that doesn't follow through with it. All things that now that I've gone through school to become
Right.
a marriage and family therapist associate, I realized were signs of depression, but I didn't know that at the time. And so I just thought he was being funny and, I don't need a friend like that. I'm going to cut him off. And so, yeah, I'm not going to reach out to him because he doesn't reach out to me. And, just all these things that we often will say to friends or, talk about other people. Well, about a year later, I got news that he completed suicide. And of course, I was devastated because, wow, I didn't know that he was dealing with depression. And of course, now I'm like, oh, I wish I would have handled things better. I wish I would have reached out to him more. I wish I would have done things like just sit with him or, sit on the phone with him, even if we're not talking, just, hey, I'm here for you. I wish I would have let him know all these things. So that was about 7 years ago this month that that friend passed away. And so that's why I'm a big advocate for,
Yeah.
if you have a friend who's acting funny, you make sure you check on that friend. They're not doing it on purpose. They're not doing it to be a fake friend. They're doing it because, sometimes you just don't feel like you don't have the energy, you don't have the mindset or any of that to be the person that you used to be. And people need someone to reach out to them. I
Yes.
also want to encourage those who feel that way to also reach out. I know it's difficult to reach out, and you may feel like, well, how come nobody ever checks up on me? Well, sometimes you have to, and I strongly encourage you to also reach out to people that you can trust and say, "Hey, I'm not okay. Hey, I really would like if you could just sit with me, we could just sit on the phone, if you could just do A, B, C, and D with me, because we are getting to a point to where we're more open to reaching out to other people, and we're getting to a point to where it's more acceptable to say that I need help. Um, but there has to be like a meet in the middle. Sometimes you do have to reach out and say I need help, but then on the other hand, friends, you also have to be able to reach out and offer help.
Yes. Yes. And to that note, I said go sit with them. If you can't physically do that, that's why there's Zoom. I'm a
Hmm.
huge fan and proponent of Zoom. Seeing each other, that has similar effects because if you can just see that person and just know, okay, they're just sitting with me on Zoom. Obviously, I matter,
Yeah.
and you do matter. Oh, that brings me to one last point. That's something that I share, and I always share these in my session because before um, joining Sharewell at my former employer, I used to um, facilitate our peer support, our support group sessions every month. And so one of the things that I share every time I can is that for people that are going through depression and that voice is telling you you don't matter, everybody will be. The reason it's saying that, I figured this out, is because you have a purpose on your life. There's a strong, strong, positive purpose for you continuing on and getting past this. And I realized that. I was like, and so eventually when I would hear that voice, I was like, you a lie. I am not done, right? I am not done. God is not finished with me yet. I have
No.
so many people out there that I need to touch.
Yes.
So if you're getting that message, that's what that means. So tell that message to go somewhere. Go take a hike.
Hmm.
Go take a hike because there is purpose on your life.
Hmm.
There are dark days. I had some serious dark days, but whatever, just know, tell yourself, look in the mirror. You're worth it. You're valuable. Your life matters. And when I get through this, I know that I am going to make some positive impacts on people around me, maybe even the world.
Yeah.
But just remember that because
Yeah.
I know it gets dark, but it will be well worth it once you get through it. Mhm.
It will indeed. Thank you once again, Vanessa, for being here. And please, please reach out if you are experiencing mental health symptoms or if you know a friend who is experiencing these things, because the more conversations we have about this, the more we normalize it, the less people will feel lonely. Hopefully, you can reach out to someone and just let them know that I'm here for you. Text somebody today, call them today, and just let them know, hey, I'm here for you. Or if you need help, text somebody, call somebody, let them know I need help.
Yes,
But
absolutely.
until next time, make sure that you subscribe, like, share this with somebody because you never know who needs to hear this message. But like I said, until next time, I hope that you feel inspired and that you take care of your mental health, especially during this mental health awareness month.
Thank you so much, Asia.